Why haven't you written a book by now?
That's what everybody say. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. It's 3 o'clock. It's 3 o'clock. Join me on live. You can come to 104.5 FM as well. I am on my live right now. And it's almost 3 o'clock. Yeah. Try to invite as many people as I can right now. Because it's 3 p.m. Let me go on and turn up this mic. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning in today. It is now 3 p.m. and you are live with Afternoons with DLight, or Afternoon with DLight tonight. And then on today as well, we have Miss Marilyn Dean Cleveland in the studio.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
We also have Leah over there in her usual position. She is taking notes. I don't know what she's doing over there. But I thank you guys so much for tuning in to me this afternoon. It has been a long week so far. Miss Marilyn?
Yes.
How's your week been going?
Very well. Sometimes, right today, I'm a little short of breath. I guess because I was laughing too much with my son today, but I'm okay. My voice is a little bit, sound like it's a little bit hoarse, a little bit nervous. I don't know why I'm so nervous.
Really?
But I do feel nervous. But I'm good. I'm good. Yeah,
Good today.
I'm good.
Well, that's a blessing, Miss Marilyn. That is a
Glad
blessing.
to be here.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much for even coming in today.
Glad to be present.
Right. Glad to be counted
Yes.
in the number. One more time.
Oh.
Telling you, Miss Marilyn, like today we were having a little bit of a discussion before we came in the studio, just a little bit earlier.
Right.
And just talking about life right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the intricacies of it because of the things that we find out.
And the things that we've been through.
And the thing that is the truth. Put that microphone up a little bit more. I don't think it's that one. I think it's that. Yeah, that one.
Oh,
right there.
okay.
Yeah.
Is it on? Oh, yeah, that one is on.
All right.
Excuse me.
Thank you so much, Miss Marilyn.
Oh, you are so welcome. I appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, Miss Marilyn. I'm telling you, like, we were just having a discussion before we came on live, and we were just talking about women's health, you know, especially people of color. You know, I guess it's no mystery or no
secret.
That's a good one for a lot of people that are in my life that know me personally, about what my story is and what my story has been for the last 9 years. I have been in Champaign County. I was diagnosed with congestive heart failure, with actually 10% of my heart functioning when I got diagnosed, and it was a ultimate like shock for me because at the time I was only 38 years old. So when you get a diagnosis like that, it's like you think it's pretty much the end of the world for you, you know. And I don't think like at any point in this time since I've been diagnosed, Miss Marilyn, I don't think I've even really talked to anybody about it.
Right. Well, I'm glad you talk to me.
Yeah. I do, Miss Marilyn.
Yeah,
you know?
We have good conversations.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Because you know what? There's so much. I see myself in a lot of things that I could listen to your story and I'm like, wow. You know, we haven't went there yet on a lot of things.
Yeah, well, and your story is really pretty profound. Wow. So you should about written 2 books by now.
You know, Miss Marilyn,
it's very interesting.
My goal is to do that. My goal is to actually, get myself
your story out there.
Absolutely, because I believe I'm just one of those people that believe that the story that I have to tell, a lot of times, I don't know anybody else that has it. I'm gonna be totally honest with you.
But other people have had probably your experience,
right,
but in a different way.
Right. Right.
But
because this has been something different. I mean, when I got diagnosed with congestive heart failure, like I told you, I was told to quit my 2 full-time jobs immediately.
Oh, wow.
And being a single mother of 4 children where you got rent to pay, you got the bills are due. Everybody wants a brand new pair of shoes. Like, what do you do in that instance, And so it has been it has been an uphill journey, because I go through bouts of, and my close family and close friends know that I go through journeys of where my health sometimes is compromised. Most recently I was in the hospital in February, and in February, my fraction rate of my heart failure had went and dropped down to 15%. So, I had a health scare where I'm just like, something has got to be terribly wrong. So, I'm thinking about it, going through the whole process of it. And like right now, today, I was just given some news about a potential surgery that I might have to have that's coming up. And I just wonder, amongst a lot of African American women out here, when's the last time that you checked on yourself? Because during the time of diagnosis, I went to the doctor with my 16-year-old daughter then. And the doctor looked at me, sitting across from me, not knowing me from anybody, and told me that something was wrong with me. Now, I've never seen this doctor before or since. So I know, in the understanding and power of grace, and that we have angels that are looking out for us, because I believe it. But I had no clue. So in the midst of that, he gave me, I was at 10% of my heart functioning when I got diagnosed. And they told me if I had left the hospital, because I used to travel for my job. So if I had left the hospital, they said, you'll probably end up having a massive heart attack and you will die and you will take out half the highway. So, after hearing that, I'm 39 years old. I'm a single mother of 4. I got 2 full-time jobs. I work one daytime job at DSC. The other nighttime job I was at Roundhouse. And then if anybody knows, like I told you, a lot of people understand and know me from being in these different capacities. But I'm explaining this to you because a lot of times we will forego thinking that we're okay, thinking that you're in pretty decent or good health, and you'll say, you know what, I'm just sick, I'm just tired. But if you have not been to the doctor, I really recommend the ladies, even men, out here, you have no idea what is going on internally, because I never would have thought that myself personally. I never would have thought I'd be 39 years old and diagnosed with something that they told me would end up killing me in less than 8 years. I was told that I would die within 8 years. So, glory be to God that I am still alive, and it is 9 years later. I'm working almost on my 10th year of having congestive heart failure with no surgeries. And I never had, I didn't do hard drugs. I wasn't a drug addict. I wasn't on anything or doing anything that I would have suspected that I would have even gotten it. That was the part that really, really shocked me, But then in my understanding, I know that we don't go through things necessarily for ourselves, but for other people, so that you can share this story, And that is my biggest thing right there, is to share this story, because like I said, I was telling you, when I applied for Social Security disability after being diagnosed, I was approved in less than 30 days. Now, I've been a case manager of people who never got approved in 30 days, but I did. So I'm like, Lord, what is the plan? What's the purpose? You know, I was diagnosed here in Champaign. I ended up having to leave everything, every situation behind. And my dad, who I did not have a good relationship with, Miss Marilyn, found out that I had heart failure and sent for me.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I remember
And so,
you
like,
telling me
Miss
about
Marilyn,
that.
I mean, our relationship was restored. You know what I'm saying? And I'm telling you, from a person who was like, you know, begrudgingly upset with my father for most of my life,
But
right?
God worked it out,
Didn't he though?
Yeah.
Didn't he though, Miss Marilyn? So before he ended up passing away, our relationship was restored.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was the biggest blessing out of all of this, because I'm like, Lord, how can you just take me away from one thing where I'm in a helping capacity to people? And you know what? I always come back to this story. And your first ministry is at home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was my first ministry, because like for a little girl or for a woman growing up and having that father, man, Miss Marilyn, it meant everything to go back and be with him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I'm just coming to a place and to a point in my life. You know, I love having this open forum. And you know what? Not so much for the attention that I get for speaking to other people on this platform, but for sharing my story.
Right.
You know, because I know somebody out here is feeling tired this afternoon.
Right.
And somebody out here is like, I can't go to the doctor today because I got my 4-5 kids in the house and they really need me. But let me express something to you, ladies and gentlemen. Just because your family needs you, you need to be around.
You need yourself.
You need yourself.
You need yourself. Right.
Ma'am,
Right.
I am telling you, yes, ma'am, you need yourself. And go out here and get yourself checked. Because there was no way anybody could have told me that this would have been my diagnosis. You know, not at all. Not at all. Because I'm like, oh, you know, I was weighing about 175. I was in a good prime position where I'm thinking that I'm taking care of myself dutifully. You know, I was doing my due diligence as far as taking care of myself. I thought. But I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, be careful. You know, be mindful. Not demure, but be mindful.
Yeah. What?
They got this whole little thing out on TikTok. But anyway,
What is it about?
it's a girl who come online and she's like, oh, I'm being you see how I go to work? She put her makeup on. She's like, I'm very mindful. I'm very demure. But I'm like, don't be demure. Don't. If you don't know what that word means, look it up. You know what I mean? So I'm telling people, like, right now is your time. Go out there, get yourself checked, follow up, get some follow through, you know, help yourself at this point in time, because you know what? Sometimes you need to be selfish. And that's a capacity that you need to be selfish in. You know, I hear people, you know, going through different things and different scenarios in life, but I'm telling you right now, you will never really understand unless you've been there. You know what? I've never, in this 9 years, you know, I thought about fostering like support groups for different women and, you know, facilitating something in regards to helping people get like even assistance, you know, even those small little things that we really don't think people need. But I'm telling you, Miss Marilyn, I had nobody to turn to. You know what I'm saying? Nobody really understood what I was going through. So it's like, who can I talk to that's going or in the same, you know, situation?
Right.
You know, and I had nobody to call other than to, you know, find books. You know, I didn't have a support group. I didn't. So right now, you know, I'm in upwards of 50 years old. And like right now, this is today, you know, I just went to the doctor today and I just got told some news today. And, you know, I know that it's going to work out and it's going to be fine, but I have to put myself in a situation where I'm going to be down for a minute.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to be down and out for a minute. And the recovery process with the surgery that he's telling me that I'm going to have is going to be something different, you know, that I haven't experienced. So, you know, and I don't say that to like, you know, have anybody, you know, pity what I'm going through or anything like that. But what I'm saying is, you know what, we all go through things in life.
Oh yeah.
You know, we all go through things in life. And you know what, if you don't know where your foundation is at, because I'm not worried about that. What I'm worried about is the fact, I'm not even worried because I can't use that word. Mm-hmm. But what I'm understanding and recognizing and going through, it is about the process of you going through it.
Right. Go through your go through.
Man, I love that, Miss Marilyn. I love that. You know what I mean? Because literally, I mean, you got to go through with sheer strategic planning. I'm talking about you got to be fully fortified in the knowledge base of understanding that, you know what, God brought me to it.
Yeah, and faith.
Surely.
Yes.
He's going to take me through it. Mm-hmm. You know, surely he's going to take me through it. Because I haven't seen him fail yet. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I just wanted to put this little spotlight in this little segment of time while I do have people's attention online right now. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I see everybody chiming in right now, but I'm being really, really mindful of what messages I give everybody and what I put out to the world right now, because I'm telling you, we only have a short amount of time here. And your purpose and your intention is to be intentional.
Right.
Right. To be very intentional about the message that you give. And I'm just expressing a real concern because it had been weighing on my heart when I came in here. And I'm like, you know, from last week, from me having conversations with my cousin, you know, she'll probably be listening online later, but Shannon, you know, I'm really mindful of the conversations that we have, because she's like, Mika, I have never heard another person give the amount of testimonies that you have about how God has brought you through some things. Yeah. And so she's like, you got to share this story, because she was like, I've never even heard of it. Mm-hmm. Now, we're in family where my mom and her mom are siblings out of 13 children. Out of 13, it was 13 of them growing up. And we have, you know, a really good relationship where I can share with her like she's my sister. So, you know, just having that capability and understanding of knowing that, you know what, I'm going to get it out.
Right.
I'm going to get it all out. I am.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, guys, for tuning in to me. Like I said, we appreciate you just being out here and, you know, just being on the line with us today. Thanks, Terrence. Hub, I see you on there. Cousin, Marcellus, Jonathan, I can see you. Josh, I see you guys on there. But I just wanted to bring some attention. Hey, Jonathan, what's going on? Mm-hmm. But I'm telling you, you know, just being mindful and very present in the things that I say. You know, like I said, we were having conversations last week, Miss Marilyn, where we can talk about some things. Yeah. We can have some conversations about some things, especially for women, young women, not really, you know, getting that motherly advice that they missed out on. Right. You know, we were talking about the cooking.
Girl, I'm still cooking.
You know what I mean?
Stuff, you know?
Right. But just the motherly cooking. And I'm like, you know what? I always listen to everybody talk about what the community needs. Right. And what everybody needs. But have you went to the people that you're trying to serve to figure out what they need?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, I think that is the biggest misconception of assuming that a person wants something. And then coming to find out that this person I just need somewhere safe to talk.
Yeah. Or even just a hug.
Miss Marilyn.
To say, okay, I'm here.
Right.
If you need me, call me. You know, sometimes people will say, if you need me, call me.
Right.
But they don't put a time limit on it. I never put a time limit. When I tell you to call me, that means any time of the day or night. Or sometimes we get into calling somebody, they might not feel like talking. Right. But that's not what you said. You said anytime.
Right.
You can call me. And you know.
Miss Marilyn, you know, just like I know, we have heard people say that. We have heard people say that.
Anytime, but it means anytime. That's what it means.
Right, but you know what? They're not the people that we assume would be there.
They're not.
No.
Yeah. They're not.
So then it's like redirecting. Where do you go when you really need somebody? You know, and I mean, and I'm not saying anything like we're not supposed to be, diligently,
I understand.
praying and prayerful to the God, and that He will be our comforter. I understand that. But He also give people in that physical form.
Yeah, He put people in our lives.
Well, physical form.
Just like a mother.
Right.
He puts mothers and fathers and friends and nieces and nephews and families in our life, so we can be with them, because he can't be with us he's with us in spirit,
right?
But we get sometimes the phrases that we talk about, we misunderstand them. We say them, but what does it really mean? Like one of the phrases that I'm probably going to get in trouble for saying this, but it's not bad. Saying that I love you from the moon and back. Now, for me, that's a trend. And I mentioned this to my grandchildren one time. They always saying they love me from the moon and back, But, and I talked to them and I said, how can you love me from the moon and back, and you can't even call me or write me or come to see me, and I live in Urbana, Illinois, and you live in Texas? So how can you love me from the moon and back when you can't love me from that distance?
My gosh, Miss Marilyn.
I mean, when it comes to love is an action word. Love is a word of endearment. Love is something that we should all be able to experience in life. But don't tell me you love me from the moon and back. That you cannot do that. I will not accept that.
Wow.
I'm serious. Maybe it's the thinking that I'm having is wrong. But I want love that is here.
Tangible.
Yeah. I don't want love if you got to take it to the moon and back.
My gosh. Well. And that is...
I'm speaking my truths.
I mean, but you can, if you formatively look at that. If you take that and somebody wrote that down on a piece of paper, you'd be like, check mark, there's no way.
Right.
It's
no way. Trend.
Right.
Love should not be a trend. There are so many other things that are trending. But love to me is solid.
Yes. Yeah.
Don't mess with love.
Right. I'm telling you, Miss Marilyn, that's the truth, though. I have to sit in that for a moment. Like, seriously, because you know what? Ooh. That was a good one.
I don't want distant love. I want right here, right now, love heart to heart.
Wow. I like that though. Because you know what? People put so much, I can say it, fakeness to it. And sometimes it's only for them to be on a showy level. Where they say, I reached out to so-and-so, or I called so-and-so, but they don't really want that connection of that conversation because it requires too much of a commitment.
Right.
Right. And I think a lot of times we fall into that trap of that belief, like, oh my gosh, this person is not fully being solid with me.
And genuine.
Yeah.
And being original.
Yeah.
Love is original.
Oh, I'm sorry, guys. But you're right. It is original. And I think a lot of times we'll fall into the trap of just wanting somebody to see us display it.
Right.
But it's not heartfelt. It's not genuine. It's not
original.
Not at all.
Right.
Not at all. And I think a lot of times we'll go with that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because you'll see different people highlight on that, so to speak.
Right. Like I said, I'm not downing anyone that uses that term. It's just, for me, it doesn't fit me.
Right.
It doesn't fit me.
Right.
because I am a person that love unconditionally.
Right.
I might get upset at you, but it doesn't stop that love.
Right.
You
right.
know,
And it shouldn't.
Right, because if you love genuinely
Mm-hmm.
and originally,
Mm.
there's nothing can break that chain.
I'm telling you, I understand that completely, Miss Meadow. I understand that completely. You know, I don't think a lot of people are even taking that into consideration. You know what they say a lot of times.
Right, and I'm probably one of those people too.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
there's, like I said, this with the love, it stands by itself.
Yeah.
As far as loving you from the moon and back.
Right.
You know,
Right.
That just it doesn't set well with me. And then you might say, well, who are you? I'm a person that loves deeply.
Mm.
That's who I am.
Right.
You know. But
That is
we do get say phrases. You know, like the song "Lift Every Voice and Sing."
right.
And I know a lot of us are familiar with that.
Mm-hmm.
But do we know what each line means?
Mm.
We sing it, but do we know what it means?
Wow.
I looked it up and I did every line
Mm-hmm.
that I could to see just exactly what was the writer that wrote the poem.
Mm.
What were they saying?
Mm-hmm.
What were they saying to us?
Mm.
We read, we sing it, but do we know what we're singing about? Really?
Right. But that's what all kind of different, if you think about it, that's what all the music that's out right now, that's up and trending
Mm-hmm.
right now.
Right.
So we think about like what's on the market today,
Mm-hmm.
and that, you know, I don't even think a lot of that, like we were talking about this before,
Mm-hmm.
how young people are listening to just whatever.
Just the words and if they sound good, if the beat is good.
If the
But
beat
what
is good.
what are you really listening to? What is getting recorded
Mm-hmm.
in your mind
Mhm.
and on your heart and your soul? You're reacting to words that are not original,
Right.
made up.
Right. Yeah.
And the young people are accepting this,
True.
and I
That's the truth.
it's just
it's
that
the truth, Ms. Marilyn.
you know, I don't know.
And it's dangerously
affecting.
Yeah, it is. I mean, to a degree where we're seeing all the different things that they're singing about right now come to life.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Because those words do have power.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you're singing about doing a drive-by, a shooting,
And that's yeah.
you know, the audacity of the artist to sit here and publicize what
Glorify.
that's what it is.
Yeah.
But just for them to even create that,
Right.
you know, and I don't blame a lot of young people when they're in that creative sense of being.
Right.
But when you take it to another
The level of killing and shooting and glorify that action.
That's what I disagree with.
Yeah.
You know.
But the creativity is a good thing.
Absolutely.
It's a good thing.
It is. But it's just, what do we do? You know, as people who try to, I want to say stand in the gap, so to speak.
Right.
Because, you know, we have to at least be bold enough to say no more.
To fill in the blank.
My gosh. Yeah.
You know.
But I mean, like, yeah, you're right.
Excuse me.
You're right. But it's like we have to come to a conclusion amongst the people,
Right.
you know, that we say no more of this. And, you know, at what point in time, because I wanted to have that discussion as well, at what point in time do people just get tired? You know, when is enough?
Is enough.
When is it?
That brings me to the point of why I want to have You know, I mean,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
I wanted to have a Negro. I use the word Negro because that was a word that was long time ago in our past.
Right.
And I'm not going to just kind of push that aside because we were Negroes among other names that we were called at that time, but Negroes was a little bit more, what I'm trying to say, it was a little bit better than the other names that we were called.
Right.
And I won't go through the list because there
Right.
was there was a lot of negative names that we have been under since whenever, you know.
Yeah.
But Negro is like in the past. And I use black for like now.
Right. Right.
And the museum I would hope to bring in would be Negro Black Cultural and Art History Museum.
Okay.
I'm going to read some of the reasons why I think that this would be something that is needed. You remember you're talking about needing.
Right.
And I believe that we do need, not just want,
Right.
but we need to educate our children.
Right. Right.
It says, I would like to bring this museum in our town of Urbana, please excuse my voice, for the purpose of educating our people at large, especially our black children, and teaching them about our history and what black Americans have contributed to this country and face the harsh reality of slavery and the barbaric treatments that they endured with reasons not known, that the slave master only knew, and that reason that black men and women have no souls and was just objects that he brought and paid for, just a means to his profit and wealth. And you know, as far as black people, we don't have any wealth really. You know, the white images have the wealth, they have the profit, and it's from the profit of the black person, of the black soul, of the black labor, and paid for, just a mean to profit and have wealth. Of the negative faced man after the picture was taken. That is like, I'm using it as a metaphor.
Right.
Negative, you know, when you take a picture, it's a negative, it's all white. When you take a picture, it's either full in color. That is us. The negative is them.
Right.
You know, but I'm speaking the truth.
Right.
Okay. And after the picture was taken, with the camera of his morally hellish mind. I'll read that again. Was taken with the camera of his morally hellish mind. Because to him, black slaves are nothing. The museum would house artifacts that have cultural and historical value and meanings, paintings, drawings, and other forms of art, and other forms of objects that was used in the past that a lot of our children do not even know. And then you might ask the question of why they should know this. Because it's important to know the aspects of your history,
Right.
of your present here on earth.
Right.
Okay, so written stories from the seasoned souls, 60, 75, 80, or even 100. I would like to get the stories of people that are seasoned.
Right. Right.
And have it put up on the wall as to honor those who had those stories, who told those stories, and to have people come into the museum and see these stories on the walls and read about them. Okay, I'm going to continue. It says 65, 80, or even 100. It depicts the faces of those of our people, the struggles they had from birth to death.
Right.
Stories about the black man's darkness, about the struggle, the suffering and despair of black man and the black woman despair, as they carried the brand of 3/5 of a human. The black slave man's darkness cast a shadow over America with the ghost of his pain.
Wow.
Even today, it is felt because of the ill-flavored brutality that was used to dominate and control the black souls, to control his identity, that his life is not important. He's just an image and is not validated by the universe. Only the white image that owns him validates his existence.
Wow.
The truth must be told to learn about the seeds of spontaneous hate, racism, bigotry, and denial. See, the truth has been denied so long about the treatments of our people. There are some I know that we don't want to hear about that.
Right.
But it has to be heard.
Right. Right.
Because we as a race of people, we need to understand where we come from and teach our children where they came from and how they got here.
True. Yeah.
And I know that there's a lot of us that don't know about the middle passage.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
with that, I
I'm
will
telling you,
I
I
will
understand.
just read a little part of another part of this, and it becomes validated, this evil, and it becomes the law of the land.
Right.
For the black man, black woman, for their dignity is stripped away as the ransom was paid. The meaning and their lives was no more because their lives did not matter. When I was in grade school nor high school, nothing was spoken about my ancestors. I didn't know about my blackness. I didn't know about my powers or my ancestors that was queens and kings and warriors.
Yeah.
And I did read something about the Moors, but I won't go into that now. I know a lot of us probably do know about the Moors, but we won't go into that right now.
Yeah, I know.
No rights was due to the slave. They were thought of as 3/5, not human. Black studies was not a part of the curriculum when I was in school, even in the North.
Wow.
We were unaware that our ancestors and how they were tortured and beaten until the flesh opened up to the white image fear. And the blood covered his black body as the red blood of a man seeped into the black earth. The white image was satisfied, and he reveled in the slave's pain. And the mark of his whip lie upon the black bodies like trophies from the man's whip.
Wow. Wow.
And I will leave it at that.
Wow. Wow. That's powerful, Miss Marilyn. I'm telling you that.
You know,
it's the blatant, like negating who we are in educational structures for me.
Right.
in schools, in middle school, in high school, I don't think that they even get anywhere near the education about us, about what we went through, about different circumstances, about life,
Right.
and even the continuation of what we're under the suffrage of right now.
Right. You know, I speak about a lot about the black man, but then there's the black woman.
Absolutely.
And I'd like to read a portion of that. It says, let's see. Okay. Oh yeah, here it is. It says, I'm going to start at this part so I can get down into the rest. It says, there wasn't a place for a black child to go to get information about his history and its people. We were not told about the hanging of the black soul on the popular tree, who was to take an innocent life by force. That's why the tree weeps. The black woman was raped constantly to work hard in the fields and to suckle Madame's children. Her clothes was ripped down to her waist, and her blackness was faced with the whip's bite from the white image, looking upon her, and took her womanhood, showing his hate for her and leaving the hate upon her body, but still entering her flesh with no pity. She sobbed silently under the weight of her tormentor in the stillness of the night, and she screamed, and her soul was not heard. That's black woman torment. I'm gonna leave that right there. Like I said, there's just some parts of it that I wanted to share.
I mean, I have a lot to say behind that. You know,
I would like to create a dialogue of something. Even if people doesn't agree with what I'm writing about, but I agree with what I'm writing about because I'm a black almost 84-year-old woman,
Bless
and
the Lord.
that's what my soul speaks.
Right.
That's what my soul speaks.
Right.
You know, and
there's nothing wrong with
that's
that.
right, because I'm validated.
Exactly. There is no. I mean, and that's what I was going to say. Like, how can anybody object against what is your absolute truth? And we know that is true, right?
And I like to read this, and I'm done. It said, we must create a dialogue with each other. I would just like, this would be a place of calmness.
Right. Yeah.
For the old, for the young, for the right and the wrong, for the sunshine, for the rain. I would hope that we learn the truth about America's history, the ugly and cruelness intentionally to another human being, and the truth was buried in the hearts of old gentlemen wearing white sheets with a red cross upon their chests, pointed heads, and words of venom and sulfur. Sulfur, you know.
Right.
Yeah, sometimes I can't pronounce my words.
I understand.
But this is what I feel.
Right.
So we need to come to the table not to blame,
Mm-hmm.
but to face each other with truth.
Right.
Black truth, white truth, and any other truths that need to be told.
Absolutely.
And that's it.
I absolutely understand it, Miss.
Yes.
Listen,
I
you're powerful in your message. You know what I mean?
well, I just
You are powerful in your message, Miss Marilyn. I am telling you the truth. And I think a lot of people don't want to know or don't want to hear or don't want to be subjected to that truth. Because it's uncomfortable.
yes.
And I know that it's uncomfortable for a lot of people to hear and to really understand. Like I said, that doesn't make it that doesn't make it less truthful.
Mhm.
Let me say that.
Mhm.
Just because you don't want to know.
It's because we don't want to talk about things
No.
we don't want to talk about.
Right.
Just
Just because you don't want to know it
Right.
does not make it truthful.
right.
And I think that's a lot of it. Let me go on and say my legal ID.
Okay.
This is WRFU LP Urbana. The disclaimer is WRFU is an open forum for the Urbana-Champaign community. Views and expressions are those of the speaker and guests and are not intended to represent WRFU UCIMC. Forgot to say that when I first came on live. But I just wanted to let everybody know that this is Miss Marilyn Dean Cleveland, and Miss Marilyn Dean Cleveland is a big proponent for trying to initiate getting a museum set up in Urbana. And this is a Negro Black cultural museum that she would have, and it would be supportive to the youth of today. And not only the youth of today, but in a proponent where we can have support of people that are in their late 70s and 80s and 90s that are still alive and living and able to share their stories of how they grew up, how they went through what they went through and are still here today surviving and talking about it, right?
Because they knew the truth.
Absolutely. They did, they were subjected to things that right now we can't even imagine.
Right.
And a lot of things that I see us doing to each other.
Oh, yes.
It puts me in that realm of who are we really serving? Are we serving the ultimate goal for the enemy to get to make us extinct, basically, to take us out of here with no regard and no type of care for one another? Those are the things that I think of. Ms. Marilyn, what you got?
Yeah, I was just, you spoke about what we're doing to each other. And I'd just like to read a little bit of this. It says, and I'm just not going to read the whole thing. It says, that hurt. Okay. But those of us that heard the secrets on the wind should go tell it on the mountains. So our children can hear before they are all destroyed, and not knowing what was the answer to the question. And why was a man in the mirror? And why was a bullet heard in the night that sought the man in the mirror and pierced his heart? A babyhood that held the gun, thinking he was a man. That one got me. He stood holding the steel gun in his baby-like hands with a blank soul. He was facing himself, not knowing the man in the mirror was himself. He had killed himself, and because he was not respected. He did not respect himself first.
Right.
We must teach our children, our black young men and boys, to love themselves with honor and knowing they are somebody, not just a dead body, just laying on the cold black asphalt without ever experiencing life as a man, because society still thinks he's just 3/5 of a man. That's it.
Wow.
That was just one other part.
Right.
You bring
I'm
up
telling you,
points
listen.
that I have already wrote about.
Right.
You know?
I'm telling you, Miss Marilyn. I mean, but that's the nature of meeting people who have the same type of disposition about what's relevant and what needs to be said.
Right.
And I don't think a lot of people that don't understand what is going on right now and out here would recognize what this is about,
Right.
unless you were a part of it. You know, because
We all are part of it,
I'm
even if
telling
it's
you.
indirectly.
But you know what, Miss Marilyn? I think a lot of, even though it's indirectly, a lot of us, this has been your life.
Yeah.
This has been, you know, like you're talking about in your age realm. In like I said, growing up in Champaign and this community is a different kind of community than growing up in Chicago.
Right.
And, you know, they have certain rules that you live by and you go by, right? That are completely different than here. Even down south, you know, like I said, I grew up raising my children down there. And they have different rules of the game that you follow, right? And so just the simple fact of you being raised in a time period of your life where it was not safe to be outside after a certain time of night, that can't be the case for today, right? Because a lot of people wouldn't even subject themselves or wouldn't stand for that. But you have that story where this is, listen, you better not be caught walking on the road after a certain time of night. So, you know, even to go through the trenches, Miss Marilyn, how did you even, like, those are things that I want to know. Like, how did they even survive to go through the swamp? I know I can't be on the main road.
Girl,
You know what I mean?
yes.
I know I can't be on the main road, so I got to go here into the back road.
Right.
And how did
To
you,
the dangerous
I'm telling you,
terrains.
yes.
Yes.
And how did you go through that and survive?
And be 90 some years old.
Thank you.
And called boy.
Thank you.
My grandfather.
Yes. You know what I'm saying? So those are the things. And just like I said, growing up in Chicago, growing up as a man or a woman, knowing that, you know, survival of the fittest is what I like to call it. You know what I mean? From people that survived even, you know, living and growing up there because of what you were subjected to so young and so early.
Yes.
You know, and then come out, okay, I'm all right, even though I went through that. You know what I mean? So those are like the realities of it, even though, like I said, a lot of people can understand and it not affect them directly. But a lot of this stuff is so direct that I don't understand how people don't want to understand or move into the direction of gaining the knowledge and gaining that value within themselves, because they got that story from grandma, they got that story from grandpa, and you can put this and have it rest upon you like a badge of honor.
Right.
Because that's what it
our
is.
young people don't have to be what society say that they are.
They don't, Ms.
They
Marilyn.
don't.
They don't.
Because I feel that our ancestors left us with knowledge and values and morals, but those things was displaced. They was misplaced.
Right.
So we, as a group of people, as a race, must find those. And like I said, I know it's easy to say we must find it, but if we want the truth, we have to be explorers.
That's true. Yep.
You know,
you gotta be willing to put that boat out there.
Yeah.
And put them casts up and them sails up and get
That's
out there and make it happen.
Because like you said, the boats, we came over here on a boat.
My God.
One of the boats was named Jesus. So we thought it was okay. It was fine, but it was a hellish journey.
Right. You know. And the disposition of having people today that really don't understand, like you don't hold yourself to accountability or that value.
Right, of taking a life Like I
Man.
said, the life that these young people are taking are their own lives, but they can't see it.
No, they can't. No, they can't. No. And then be so bold as to do and emboldened,
Right,
to do it. And like you're not serving your purpose, sir, ma'am.
Yeah.
You're not serving your purpose, but you are serving the purpose that they intended for us.
Oh yeah, it's like the redlining.
Yes, it is. You are serving the purpose that they intended for us. You know what I'm saying?
And to talk about this is not to offend,
No.
but to let you know that we want the truth. And you should want the truth as well.
Right.
And we talk about coming together.
Mm-hmm.
How can we come together when there's a big lie in between us?
Truly.
You know?
It's the truth, Miss Marilyn. I mean, it's the sadness of it.
Yes.
It's the fullness of it.
Yeah.
Because it's like one thing about it, you're not going to get away. You're not going to get away from not knowing these things. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's going to be subjected to come into your line of sight at some point in time, because either you're not asking or your child is not coming to you asking.
Right
now.
Right now. Right. With the museum, your child will hopefully will come and say, "Well, Mama, why was this? Why was that?
Right.
Why am I who I am?"
Right. And it's like we have to be at some point in time ready.
Right.
And I mean in all capacities of ready.
You're right.
Because I think that this should be something that we actually are speaking to our youth about on a regular basis.
Yeah.
It should be just like their dinner time or their supper time. What are we going to talk about or read about tonight?
Right.
And if a lot of people aren't engaging and have their children in that aspect of wanting to teach, because I'm like, at first you got to be in love with learning.
Oh yeah.
You got to be almost in love with it, like it is your baby. You carry this thing around with you everywhere we go. So we just wrapped up with talking about love earlier.
Right.
You have to have a love of wanting to know or wanting to learn the knowledge and the truth. And so then you can be able to pass this on to your children,
Because
to your
hopefully
grandchildren.
the next generation will be more equipped.
Hopefully.
But there has to be someone to teach.
Right.
Our grandparents would teach taught us things.
Right.
But there's no more grandmothers and grandfathers that are old in wisdom.
There's not. And I don't know if we're just selectively excluding them.
It seemed like it.
It does seem like Miss Marilyn.
But if I can, I would like to talk to a lot of the older people. I mean, I'm an older people too.
Right.
And I
would
just
love
gave
to have
my
that.
story.
Exactly. We would love to have that, though. If there would be, an outreaching and an outpouring from a lot of the elderly people who would like to have a consortium or a little get together. Reach out to me. Reach out to me online, and we could put something together so that your stories would be able to be published and told, right? In the magnitude of what we're trying to do. Right. So right now we were talking about the museum that Miss Marilyn Dean Cleveland would like to subject the community in having and bringing them to the light of, no pun intended, but bringing them to the light as far as our history is concerned. Also networking and meeting people on different avenues so that we could potentially bring something together and work towards a common goal here. And that goal is to love on and be a resource and a source for our children. And not just our children, but everybody's children. Because you know what? This history that we're talking about doing is important not only to ourselves, but to the community.
And we can't let our history die.
No, we cannot. No, we cannot, Miss Marilyn. Not at all. But we're about to wrap it up, Miss Marilyn. You got any words for the last 2 minutes of this show today? Hey, Jonathan. Hey, Miss Violet. I see you online here. It's Earth from the Heart. I see you. Yeah, I hear you, Reverend. Terrence Thomas, love is an action word. You right.
Uh-oh.
But I see everybody that's been online with me today. I appreciate you making a comment or reaching out. Like I said, we spoke earlier about taking care of your bodies. Ladies and gentlemen, go to the doctor. If you have not been, get yourself a checkup, please. And Miss Marilyn Dean Cleveland, we are on our way out of here. Miss Marilyn, you want to say goodbye today to everybody and just let them know you can reach out to Miss Dean Cleveland on REDDEANNA at yahoo.com, and I'll put it in the comments for everybody if you want to reach out to Miss Marilyn Dean Cleveland. Miss Marilyn, and we are at the end of our time. We're at the end of our time.
So have a wonderful afternoon and a greater tomorrow.
Thank you so much, Miss
Take
Marilyn.
care.
Take care. All right, guys. See you later. And we are at the end of our show. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. And like I said before, you have been on live and on the radio with Afternoons with DLight. Have a great one, everybody.
Okay. Uh-oh.